Welcome back to the latest episode of the Warroom podcast presented by the Sideline Journal. I'm your host, Mason Wrather, and joining me today is Liam Carr.
What's going on, everybody? Week 2. Put a wrap on it last night with the doubleheader. Some people don't like it, some people do, but hey, we got in this week 2, I can't believe it happened this early, we had a game that we would be praying for back in May with Mac Jones versus Spencer Rattler.
Can you believe it? And then Carson Wentz versus Jake Browning. I mean, some absolute world heaters coming up. And I think that's what everyone was thinking about. I also think everyone had the Chiefs being 0-2 and the Texans being 0-2. And we're going to talk about all of that and more in the Week 2 breakdown of the War Rooms. It's officially open.
This is the War Room presented by the Sideline Journal, where the film doesn't lie. Let's get to work.
So to kind of kick off the Sunday after the last game of the year contender with the Ravens-Bills last week, this week we saw the Cowboys and Giants in an absolute back-and-forth crazy game going into overtime where we saw the return of the Russell Wilson moonball, Dak Prescott looking like a top 10 quarterback, but the story of the game, dark horse MVP candidate Brandon Aubrey, the kicker.
Yeah, that whole game was absurd, and the Cowboys, Mason, especially you have to be so thankful you have a guy like Brandon Aubrey on your team right now that you just know it's gonna go in. He's right now he's the Scotty Scheffler of the kicker position, and I think that's fair to say. He's just robotic every time he goes out there. He's just unfazed, and he'll kick it from anywhere. And that last kick in that overtime game, he probably could have kicked it from 70, maybe 80. I mean, that dude's just the GOAT of kicker right now. Who's Justin Tucker? I don't know.
Don't know.
But yeah, that moonball by Russell Wilson, that was something we were talking about that he still has in the offseason, and it showed with Malik Neighbors. 450 yards for Russ, and then Malik 167, Mason. Absurd.
Yeah, it was crazy. As a fantasy owner of Malik Neighbors, I was ecstatic. I was telling everybody that he should be higher up on your boards, that Russell Wilson's going to give him a lot of good fantasy value, and it showed up against a Cowboys defense that is really missing Deron Bland right now. They gave him a massive extension. You saw him play pretty lights out with the Eagles in Week 1. He goes down, and then Kaiir Elam, who was supposed to be our slot corner, former first-round bust for the Bills, I think he gave up 200 receiving yards yesterday to Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors. But I want to backtrack a little bit to Brandon Aubrey, the kicker. He is seriously a very valuable player because what a lot of people don't really realize with the change in the way the kickoff and kickoff return is, the average field tilt, the field starting position, is the minus 30 now across the league. That means for the Cowboys, they only got to get 20 yards on offense to come away with points because this dude can kick it from the 50. We watched them right at the end of the game that they're only at the 44, and instead of trying to run another play with a timeout, they're like, we'll hand off ISO to the left to make sure we get it right on the hash that he wants to kick a 64-yard field goal. That is seriously going to be game-changing, and I mean, not trying to get too excited because I have no idea if we're even going to make the playoffs, but if it's a close game in the fourth quarter, you got to like the Cowboys' chances a little bit more just because the average yards they've got to get, they've got the kicker for it.
Yeah, that was a great end of game with Dallas. It was back and forth, and like you said, early contender for game of the year, up there with the Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. But yeah, I want to talk about, you talked about the Cowboys right there, the Giants. I mean, Malik Neighbors looks like that guy. He caught the touchdown pass with a arm up in his face, couldn't even see the ball. That was absurd. And then, Russell Wilson, I don't know, 450 is incredible. How many touchdown passes did he have? But it's Russell Wilson. Two bad interceptions. In overtime. What was he even doing? He had a little bit of pressure, but he just got rid of it. I think he was just feeling himself from early in the game. He was like, if I throw it up to Malik, he'll have it, but you at least got to give him a chance. Just an awful ball. This was like, okay, this is the old washed Russ, that Seattle got rid of, that Denver got rid of, and then Pittsburgh got rid of, all right? He has to clean that up, and the quarterback room that he has, people are itching. I mean, imagine Jameis Winston with Malik Neighbors. Look what he did with Jerry Jeudy. And look what he did with the Bucks. I mean, I don't know why. He's on a really short leash because of that quarterback room. And so making those stupid decisions in a very important NFC East game in overtime, that was just incredibly stupid.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game that the Giants should have won. The Cowboys messed around. They found out The Giants played really well on offense. Everything was kind of in their favor for the majority of the game. But, I mean, that pass rush that we talked about all offseason with Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, where is it? And my counter to that is freaking Tyler Smith, our first-round guard, Tyler Booker, Cooper Beebe at center. Our interior offensive line is insane. Like, it is truthfully very good. And what's weird that I've been seeing a lot of for Brian Schottenheimer, a lot of people don't understand, like, why are we getting in condensed sets and then motion out into farther sets or wider sets? Well, we're in a lot of 12P, 11P, or I've seen stuff with it's 11 but an extra tackle on the field. And it's because our tackles, Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton, they're not very good. But we are scheming good pro to where we're giving them help, to where you saw that shot that we got to get in the field goal range in overtime. It was Max Pro, 7D. Dak Prescott went out there, changed the protection, alerted the routes. We got a deep 20-yard dig, deep 20-yard crosser out of CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens because he saw it was a one-high shell. They were running the blitz up the middle, and it was just perfect. They got it pro'd up, and they threw it, and it neutralized Dexter Lawrence. It neutralized that pass rush. And if you're Brian Daboll and you're that coach, you're 0-2, you probably should have won the game, but you lost it, and now you're going in to go play the Chiefs. I mean, they're sitting at 0-3. What if it gets to 0-4? Are we going to see Jackson Dart? Is Brian Daboll going to get fired? I mean, they're doing some exciting stuff, but it just starts to get a little hairy and scary because the more games that you lose, the louder those voices are going to go. And one last thing. Thought it was really funny. They put Jackson Dart in for one play in a full house formation to hand the football off, and Scam Gadapu was just like, F this, I'm running over everybody. Run him over, and he got to the 1 yard line. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, that little package they did for the rookies was pretty funny, and Cam looks like he's going to be a CTE giver to anybody he plays.
Yes.
My last argument for what you said about stopping the Giants' pass rush, I got to see what the numbers were for this game, because I remember last game, the Giants, I'm pretty sure for 8 defensive plays, they had that package of the rushers of, Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, and then Burns. I think they only had him in for 8 plays on defense. Why are they not in a majority of the time? That package would be almost unstoppable on any moment.
Absolutely.
So that's something they got to figure out. Is that Daboll calling that? Or if he is, then yeah, he'd probably get fired. I don't want him to, but, you're looking to go 0-3, maybe 0-4, and then, then player meetings start to happen, and you're going to miss the playoffs. Like J.J. Watt said, as soon as that player's only meeting happens, you're not making the playoffs. And so the Giants got to figure it out real quick, and then James just can't turn the ball over. So
yeah, talking about J.J. Watt and the Dolphins, that was hilarious. I mean, talk about a guy that's been around some really bad football teams for the Texans, just flat out saying, if you're already having player meetings first 2 weeks of the season, go right ahead and book your February vacation because you're not going anywhere. And I'm going to take some credit for calling out the Dolphins. It's the trio of Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa, Chris Greer, they all need to just go because the Dolphins are in a very bad spot.
Yeah, hey, if you want to start there, we can talk about that New England-Miami game. We're going to go really briefly over probably like 7 games real quick, Mason. You want to do that?
Yeah, channel our inner boomer.
All right, yeah, let's go New England-Miami. New England 33, Miami 27. Tua, you were just hating on him, had a quiet 315-yard game through the air. Ramondre didn't really do much, but Tyreek finally back with the 109. Mason, what do you have for the takeaway here?
What I took away from it is that Tua, put everything he had into a 35-yard deep ball to Tyreek Hill that he was 10 yards behind the Patriots defense. And it was Tyreek Hill's first 30-plus yard catch since 2022. And it's because Tua Tagovailoa can't throw a deep ball. And that's just going to continue to show cracks for the Dolphins' offense. Patriots defense, Patriots offense. The defense has got to tighten down. They want it to be the strength of their team, but it's just still not there. It's not showing up. The pass rush isn't. Christian Gonzalez is that guy. Offensively, you're starting to see Drake May come alive a little bit. You can be excited that he's starting to figure out Josh McDaniels' system. Josh McDaniels proven he's a good OC. I'm looking forward to see them quietly continue to build going throughout the season.
Drake May looks like the guy you got to build around, but that defense is not playoff caliber yet. Neither is their run offense. I want to see more Travion Henderson, and then just the passing offense. I mean, Stephon Diggs, where's he been at? Kyle Williams, where's he been at? It's been like Hunter Henry and their wide receiver Booty. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, Keyshawn Booty.
Yeah, it's been those two guys. None of their superstars, but they'll figure it out, I'm sure. But Miami, you got to get rid of McDaniels. Tua, he's not enough. And then their only bright side is A-Chain. That's been getting them touchdowns in garbage time. Mason,
sorry, last thing. Dolphins offense. Imagine having Devon A-Chain, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill, all 4.3 speed guys that can burn the top over the field. But then you have a quarterback that can't even throw it to them. It's just mind-boggling.
Go to Los Angeles, Tennessee. Look, Cam Ward is starting to look really nicey.
He's looking very nicey. I think you use the comparison that he's Will Levis, but what he tries actually works.
Yeah, Cam Ward, he did the one throw that no quarterback can ever do. He's rolling out right in the red zone. He looks across his body, sees I believe it was Alik Ayomanor, which is a guy I was on a watch list.
That Warroom analyst was talking
back
about.
In, like, May for Alik out of Stanford. But, yeah, across his body, no momentum going towards the ball. Just an absurd throw. You got to watch it. Yeah, that was stupid, but Tennessee looks like they're putting together a good team. Lost 33-19 against the Rams. Matthew Stafford almost had 300. Tony Pollard almost had 100. And Devontae Adams finally arrived in Los Angeles.
He did. Devontae Adams was someone that put up a 30 burger in fantasy on my bench, so I was very excited about that. But you live and learn with fantasy. You don't start him the week they blow up. You'll start him again. He'll come back down to earth. But anyways, the game. That Cam Ward throw was basically like in Madden. You press the wrong button and you're like, oh crap, but then it actually works out. Some key stats for the Titans. Since Brian Callahan has coached 19 games, they lead the league in penalties by a margin of 19. Through this season alone, they have 12 more penalties than the next team. They have operational issues, subbing in and out, getting the play call in. You can tell it's just a disorganized, dysfunctional organization. They have some building blocks. Alik Ayomanor, like you said. I think Tony Pollard's a good bell cow back. They've got Cam Ward. The offensive line is a little bit of a work in progress. I do think J.C. Latham is starting to show up that he can be a starting caliber tackle, which is another building block. I just think there's so much mismanagement and dysfunction with the head coach. Going over to the Rams. The Rams, this is a true business trip. They had to go out to Nashville. They're an old veteran team playing for a Super Bowl. They knew that they were the better team. It took them a little bit to get alive, but Matthew Stafford started cooking. Devontae Adams started showing up. Sean McVay was calling a good game. He got so excited he freaking tore the plantar fasciitis in his foot,
wild,
which is kind of wild. So.
Hey, Blake Corum, I believe, got his first touchdown.
He did?
Old Michigan running back, so good for him.
Hey. I think what we can take away from the Buffalo Bills game, fantasy-wise, James Cook's the number one fantasy running back currently. He's had 3 total touchdowns, over 300 all-purpose yards, and he is the engine of the Buffalo Bills offense when Josh Allen isn't. Josh Allen didn't really have to do much. They just ran behind that O-line with their 2 tight ends, James Cook, ran all over the Jets, and they kind of proved that the Jets' defense outside of Quinnen Williams in the interior is not a very good run-stopping defense. I think they've got old average linebackers, and I think Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson are great edge threats, but I mean, the interior defensive line, the interior heart of that defense isn't there, and the Jets are only built to win one way. They got to get an early lead, running the football, and force teams into passing situations. If they don't do that, they're not going to win. Because Justin Fields, I love him as a human being. I love his physical traits and physical tools. He cannot play quarterback in the National Football League. He's just not capable of it.
Yeah, Justin Fields put up I don't really like QBR that much, but when you put up a 1.1, that's pretty awful. He would have been better if he just threw it in the dirt.
He's 0-24 as a starting quarterback when the other team scores 21 points. That is a bad stat.
Yeah, it means your offense can't put up more than 3 touchdowns, and 3 touchdowns is kind of a lot, but I mean that's almost immediate. Yeah, and I feel bad for Garrett Wilson. Everybody likes Garrett Wilson, but he put up 50 yards, and I just don't think it's going to get much better for him than that with Justin Fields as quarterback. They had a fun game last week. That was week 1. Pittsburgh didn't know what they were doing either. The defense looked not that good, and yeah, the Jets looks like might be a bummer year. Hey, let's go to speaking of that Pittsburgh game. What about Pittsburgh versus Seattle?
I think
unexpected?
Unexpected, not unexpected. I mean, I had the Steelers winning because I thought Mike Tomlin would get that defense rolling, and I think you're just seeing a lot of age on that defense. I think Jalen Ramsey has shown up consistently as the best player on that defense. I think T.J. Watt, cue the Lightning McQueen fading meme, I think he's fading. He's the highest paid edge rusher in the league, and he's not showing up. And
Hasn't recorded a sack in the last 7 games.
Steelers fans are going to think I'm crazy, but he's just not showing up. And I mean, offensively, I think Aaron Rodgers has proven everybody wrong. I think he's playing great football. He's behind maybe the worst offensive line in football, though. Steelers' offensive line is not very good. Arthur Smith is having to scheme around it. His offense is built on trying to establish a run game, and they can't do that without a good offensive line. And I think it's just showing up, and I think that the Steelers, again, they're going to have to hope that between Aaron Rodgers staying healthy and that defense finding a way to play football for them to win games. Looking at the Seahawks, Sam Darnold's proved that, he's a good quarterback. Yeah, he had 2 interceptions because he just kind of reminds me of Brett Favre. He's a gunslinger. He'll go out there and he'll launch that hoe, and whether or not it's completed, he's going to throw it. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, he is that guy. He is a number 1 wideout. He's looking great. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, they're running the football. It looks like Clint Kubiak was the right OC to hire for them. And the Seahawks quietly have, in contention with the Chargers, the best defense in the league. I think the Seahawks and the 49ers and the Rams are going to make it exciting. And the Cardinals. I think that's going to be one of the most competitive divisions in football.
For sure. Hey, guess who was talking about Seattle's defense way back when, after the draft being quietly really good this year? And I saw some posts today saying on some of the smaller accounts, the media won't pick up on Seattle's defense until a couple weeks, into the season. And then today on Get Up, they're talking about, Seattle's secondary is looking pretty good. Legion of Boom 2.0. Stuff we were saying a long time ago. But yeah, that game was actually way closer than what it was. I want to say it was like 20-17, 20 to maybe 14 at one point. And then Caleb Johnson's mess up with the kickoff, and then things just never got back on board right there. So just one mess up kind of ruined that, but you can't blame it all on that. You still got to play every single minute. But not a good look for the Steelers right there. They'll bounce back though. Denver, Indianapolis. Mason, you got anything to say about Daniel Jones?
I got something to say about Indiana Jones. He is a dude. Week 1, everyone's like, oh, well, that wasn't a very good defense. He won't do that against the Broncos. And all he did was go out there and quietly put up 25-29, 300-something yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, QB rating over 100. Colts look great. They win 29-28. You've got the owner on the sidelines looking like, oh my God, we found our franchise quarterback. Anthony Richardson looks like he hates his life. Jonathan Taylor suddenly is running for over 100 yards again. Tyler Warren looks like the greatest rookie tight end ever. And I mean, the Colts quietly this entire offseason are like, hey, we believe in our head coach. We think that it's been the quarterback play. We're going to go out here and get a proven starter that's proven that he can play in a good situation, put him in a good situation, prioritize him, and I think it's working out for him. I think they're quietly going to be the best team in the AFC South and are probably going to win that division. The Broncos, I mean, what the heck? They're supposed to be the best defense in football. They had the Defensive Player of the Year, and they let Daniel Jones throw for 300 yards and Jonathan Taylor rush for 150. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Johnny T ran for 165. He was running all over the place, and Indiana Jones is looking pretty phenomenal. Tyler Warren, I don't know why the Bears went with Loveland over him. Warren, to me, was just showing all the signs of a Swiss Army knife player that you'd want to have on your team. I think he's leading the Colts with receiving yards, and then he's just blocking downfield. It would be terrible to be in the secondary, and this guy comes running at you full speed. He can do everything, so that's a great pick for them. Indiana got really lucky with that game and how it ended with the leverage call, but you end up winning it by 1. Who cares? You go 2-0, and all of a sudden the outlook on the season goes from, yeah, we can contend for a playoff spot to now we have to have a playoff spot. Good for them. And then Denver, I don't know what's going on. Their defense was they were number 1 coming in. Everybody was thinking defensive player of the year with Surtain. They just re-signed to like 3 defensive players to huge contracts. Denver was looking good, and then they have a really bad game against Tennessee, and now they just lose one last second to Indiana. What's going on in Denver?
Well, I mean, I'm pulling up Cortland Sutton's stats on the year right now. For a wide receiver one that they paid like $25 million a year, which I've always said he's not. Through 2 games, he has 7 catches for 67 yards.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's what you want out of your number 1 wideout. And that's just the point I'm trying to make. The Broncos offense has no playmakers. None whatsoever. And, I mean, if Bo Nix is your number 1 playmaker, I think that's a problem.
I never heard that before, that the Broncos offense doesn't have any playmakers. Like, did anybody ever say that they should go out this offseason and go get one, and they were really mad when they didn't really get one?
I don't know. I think maybe you could go check the AFC West Warroom divisional preview and see us talk about that in length. Just like with Seahawks defense, you can go check out the Big Scoop podcast with the Seahawks watchdog, and we talked about how great their defense was going to be. It's almost like shameless plug. We know what we're talking about. Anyways, Broncos offense is showing some worrying signs. Like if Sean Payton has to scheme up a 28-word play call with 2 kills and an alert for every time they go out there, it's going to be a long season on offense for Broncos fans.
Almost done here real quick. Carolina, Arizona. Ted had his first 100-yard game. Chuba Hubbard is looking like that guy. Bryce Young, not really. Arizona should have won that game by a lot. It was like 27 to, I want to say like, yeah, it was 27-3. I thought I was going to try to give them a little nicer, 27-6, but yeah, they were just letting Carolina stay in that game.
And they almost let them win it at the end. Like
they had a chance. They definitely had a chance. Yeah, and so Arizona, I feel like that game, you know, Carolina, we're disappointed in starting out 0-2. I was hoping that they would split one of these games, go one-on-one, be a little more positive, maybe make the playoffs. They're 0-2 since the new format. I think only it's like 17% of the teams have ever made it to the playoffs after going 0-2. It's not looking great for them, but, you know, I'm going to be honest. It looks like Arizona, there's a lot of problems right there. You can't close out a game. That looks like it's going to be, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. I think there's more problems with Arizona still. Is Kyler Murray a franchise quarterback? I don't know.
I just think Arizona there's nothing that really excites me about them. And I know that sounds like very contrarian or like someone that doesn't watch them, but you watch them play. I mean, for a number 4 overall pick and Marvin Harrison Jr. having 3 catches for 40 yards. Kyler Murray, a number 1 overall pick that's in year 7 as a starting quarterback. I mean, he did have a very nice scramble on 3rd and 10 that was for 20-something yards that would move the sticks and look really good. But I mean, it just looks to me like an OC that is the only way that we're going to win is if this is the head coach's philosophy. The only way we're going to win is we play really good, sound defense, and then we do nothing extraordinary on offense, and we just run the football. Because the engine of their offense is Paris Johnson at left tackle, James Conner at running back, and Trey McBride blocking and throwing. The Cardinals, the things that they can be excited about is Will Johnson. I trust my pre-draft evaluation. I said he was a top 10 pick. It was only because of his medicals, and sure enough, F his medicals. I don't know how long he'll play in the league, but right now he's playing some great football. I think Agent Zero is a nickname that I saw for him, and I think that is, or Sub-Zero, excuse me, and I think that is a great nickname for him. Josh Sweat also reunited with Jonathan Gannon has looked very good. He had a lot of good pressures for them. And so, I mean, the Cardinals, they should on paper have a good team. They should on paper contend for a playoff spot. I just don't see it. I think in the division they're in, they're going to fall off late. Letting a team like the Panthers that they've proven hang around like that to almost win it, not a good look. Panthers, God, you want to win that game. I mean, they had a chance. They were on their opponent territory, and it's a false start, a holding penalty. Oh, hey, we complete it, but oh, hey, here's another penalty. Hey, it's 3rd down. We can't get the play call in time. I'm just going to chunk it up to Hunter Renfrow. And, I mean, Bryce Young, 33-53, 300-something yards, is a better game than his Week 1 showing. But, I mean, still, when the lights are bright, I think he just shrinks a little bit. But Tedero McMillan, saying it now, he'll be the offensive rookie of the year. He's the engine of their offense. Ashton Genty looks like he's in a bad situation. Tedero McMillan, offensive rookie of the year.
Maybe the Mika in there, but we'll talk about that later. Philly, Kansas, Super Bowl rematch was incredibly boring. Chiefs look like they're found out, and then Philly, the tush push, people are starting to hate on it. One of the Packers apparently had that thing back in May of we should ban the tush push, and everybody called us soft. All right, we weren't banning it because we couldn't stop it. We were banning it because of what? What? The false starts and the illegal formation. Now that everybody else is complaining about it, you know, I don't really care about it now because everybody else is on board, is like against it. But, anyways, Jalen Hurts kind of proven that he is not a NFL quarterback. You know, he can be a phenomenal role player, but yeah, he hasn't thrown a pass touchdown yet. And then his first 2 games, I think against Kansas City, he threw for 105, and then against Dallas was like 115. I don't think that's too far off.
Yeah.
And then Patrick Mahomes does not have a deep ball.
That's some crazy statements there. Let's unpack some of them real quick. Jalen Hurts. The stat's not exactly accurate. I read it somewhere, but it's in the ballpark. He's like the only quarterback to be 15-0 in games where he's thrown under 130 passing yards. Only one. And you say what you want about Jalen Hurts. He is an elite quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. He is an elite quarterback for Nick Sirianni's Philadelphia Eagles. You try to sit there in conversations and say he's a top 5, top 10 quarterback. I just think it's disingenuous to what guys are doing out there, because you put any quarterback into that system that has a top 5 O-line, 2 top 10 wide receivers, the best running back in football, Dallas Goedert at tight end, they're going to produce.
You know, the defense you can trust.
The defense that is top 5 as well. But that's what the detractors say. I'll play devil's advocate. Jalen Hurts has proven in the biggest stages in 2022 Super Bowl and 2024 Super Bowl that he can duel and at times out-duel Patrick Mahomes. He has proven it. So, I mean, I just think that he does what is necessary to win, and it's not pretty and you won't like it, but he's the quarterback that fits their team, and I just think Eagles fans are always going to try to be the loudest ones in the room and say what they want, and as long as they keep winning, they can. But I'm seeing some cracks every year that Nick Sirianni hasn't had Shane Steichen or Kellen Moore, 2 head coaches. The offense has been booty cheeks, and right now their offense through 2 games has been booty cheeks.
Yeah, and they can run it. That's fine. You have a really good quarterback that can, you know, if he gets in a pickle, he can scramble out. He's built pretty tough. And then, you know, Saquon Barkley is the best overall running back in the league. He can do anything. And then you just have an O-line that can move anybody. So their run offense is awesome. That's great. You can do that to win playoff games and then the Super Bowl. But just they have 0 pass anywhere. I just feel bad for the wide receivers. You know, some people talked about how A.J. Brown is a little overvalued, and you don't want to go with Devontae Smith at this wide receiver 2 on a run-first team. I don't know where you would have heard that. But, yeah, Philly, I mean, if I'm not super mad, but if, you know, they can keep on doing what they're doing and they can win. But it's just, I think that there's some of these people are overrated because they just don't produce. But, you know, then, you know, they can shut me up because they'll probably win just by running the ball and playing pretty boring, but it'll work out.
And having a generational talent evaluator at GM and a generational defense. So
yeah,
that helps.
With that. Yeah, and then Kansas City, I don't like how they were talking about free 4 in the pregame. You know, it wasn't like Josh Gordon. It wasn't like Flash Gordon, free Gordon. This is a guy that, you know, definitely did something, tried to hide it, tried to get away, and then got caught, and it was even worse. So, yeah, I'm against Kansas City, too, because I don't like their players right now doing all that for a guy that's definitely convicted of some illegal things. And then just Patrick Mahomes, like I said, doesn't have a deep ball. Pacheco, one of the best-looking running backs of all time, except he uses echolocation. He's as blind as a bat when he's trying to run through a tunnel.
That's hilarious.
Kelsey's old and washed, and I don't care for him. And then they always complain about wide receivers. Xavier Worthy being out kind of stinks, and then Rashid Rice, who's a legit one, but I am not going to talk about him because, you know, morally and ethically, I'm against him.
He's a primetime player, but not a primetime human being. So.
Yeah, and then they got Juju. Man, who after that? Yeah, that gets really tough, but Kansas City has a ton of problems.
Hollywood Brown still exists for them, I think.
Yeah, okay, I forgot. He started off pretty good, too. Hollywood Brown, he was a wide receiver 1 and back when he got drafted. He was the first one off the board, which is kind of crazy. I don't have much else to talk about this game. In my opinion, it was kind of boring. Do you want to go over to Atlanta, Minnesota for the last one?
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick about Travis Kelce. He needs to retire. He's playing really bad football. It's starting to you see it with old players. They start blaming everything around them, and they can't realize that their body is breaking down and aging. I just saw him over the middle 2 or 3 times, turn it down, not catch a football. Ends up being Mahomes' interception. He looks around, he's blaming everybody, yelling at his teammates. Swifties, you need to just convince him to go be Taylor Swift's ultimate hype man, because I think football's passed it by. Anyways, yeah, Falcons-Vikings.
Yeah, I feel like the elephant in the room is J.J. McCarthy. He can't throw to his left. That's a fun little stat. Look that up. I want to say he's something like 2 for 4 on his left side, while on the other side he's, like 16 for 30 or something. But, one of those 2 passes on the left was a pick six. I think that's a little worrisome for the Vikings right now. They're going to start Carson Wentz. You got with the best wide receiver in the league. With Justin Jefferson. Pretty solid offense overall, but breaking news, Aaron Jones is out on IR. So Jordan Mason is going to be the start. Yeah, hamstring issue, Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
He's up in that age where it's a little tough, but so Jordan Mason is going to get that workload. If you need him in fantasy, I'd go get him because he's going to be pretty good. And then just, the Vikings, I hate them because they're I'm talking a lot of hate right now, but the Vikings are in-division opponents, rivals, and KOC and Brian Flores, probably the best coaching duo in the NFL right now. Brian Flores is absurd. If you watch that game, one of the things I like about Brian Flores is a lot of the defensive coordinators around the NFL, on 2nd and long, they'll show the blitz and then drop back in his zone, right? Kind of makes sense. Brian Flores does not drop back. He blitzes everybody on 2nd and long for absolutely no reason other than to get a sack and then make you go a 3rd and like 19. Brian Flores is a really ballsy guy, and it works out. He's one of my favorite coaches to watch right now, and the KOC looks like he's the quarterback whisperer, made J.J. McCarthy, who there's questions on right now, look like a hero. He was the NFC Offensive Player of the Week in Week 1 just because he played a good 1 quarter in the 4th. And then look at what he did with Sam Darnold, and let's see what he does with Carson Wentz next week. But yeah, the Vikings, they ended up losing 6-22 because Atlanta has Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and then Michael Penix.
Yeah, and that defense for them came. I was saying, then for the Falcons, that defense came alive. It's the first time they had 6+ sacks since like 2008, like over a decade, which is.
Yeah, and why did they do that?
Mind-boggling
They're
to think about.
2 first-round picks.
They're 2 first-round picks. Jalen Walker, James Pierce, they came alive. Devine Diablo, blitzing. I mean, Jeff Ulbrich, say what you want to say, bad interim head coach for the Jets. Great DC for the Falcons. I mean, because what they did is they went out there in a 5-0 bear front and were like, hey, we're going to let you run the football and we're going to see if JJ can pass it. But to JJ's credit and to KOC's credit, and to take away from the Falcons, Christian Darrisaw has quickly proven that he is a top 5 offensive tackle in the league. Jonathan Skule needs to be cut today. He gave up 4 sacks. That you need to go, in the words of Will Campbell, you need to go working at Amazon, giving up 4 sacks in a game like that. And that's to JJ's blind side, to his left. So it's kind of hard to design passing progressions where you're going to have to step up in a pocket, turn and throw to your left, where that's where your front side pressure is coming from. Point of what I'm trying to say is I don't think that everything is on JJ for the Vikings, and I don't think everything is on Aaron Jones or Jordan Mason. They signed Cam Akers in the run game. I think that there is a critical issue with their offensive line. Also, Ryan Kelly, the center, went out with a concussion in the 2nd quarter of that game. Yep. So there's a lot of issues going on up front. But it is worrisome that there was no listed injury, and they've been talking about how much of a commander and leader JJ is. They don't want to take that away from him. So he's pseudo-benched with a mysterious ankle injury, and they're going to start Carson Wentz. And they signed Desmond Ridder to the 53-man practice squad. So
that's a good sign.
We'll see what plays out for the Vikings, and I think the Falcons can be a little bit excited that Michael Penix has looked good, Bijan Robinson's looked good, and their pass rush is coming alive.
Yeah, that was the 3 main questions, and it's looking pretty good so far. Mason, you want to talk a lot about Jacksonville, Cincinnati? Pretty exciting game. What did you want to talk about with the Jaguars?
Well, I mean, I think Liam Cohen's proven to be the right head coach. down there in Jacksonville. They've looked very competitive on both sides of the football. They've made some really good, I think, late game decisions. I think they managed the clock well. I think that run game's rolling with Bashaw Tootin and Travis Etienne. I think that the defense, Trayvon Walker, Jonathan Hines-Allen, they're really coming alive. And I think that it's a very competitive team. But my main thing I want to talk about what's going on with them is there's a freak show wide receiver that looks like he's Julio Jones' long-lost brother and Brian Thomas Jr. that is now afraid to catch the football. What is going on?
Yeah, I'm really bummed because he was a big dynasty pickup that I had. And yeah, pretty frustrated with him right now. He has like you said, yips right now. He takes a slant and he stops. He's on a go route and he stops for some reason. Something interesting last year is that Brian Thomas Jr., his best games were when Mac Jones was playing, not Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, remember, he was out for like a quarter of the season at the end, maybe half. When Mac Jones came in, that was when Brian Thomas Jr. had his best games. And so, does he have a problem with Trevor? Does Trevor throw a lot of hospital balls? Is that why he has the yips right now? And Liam Cohen is a little frustrated, and Liam Cohen's also a little frustrated with Trevor Lawrence. If you saw that little interaction where he was telling him to hit him in the chest, and Trevor Lawrence kind of waved him off. Yeah, Jacksonville, is it all good down there? And then also Travis Hunter, he's now played like the most snaps, defense and offense. There's something to do with like Julian Edelman was the one ahead of him, and now he's already taken him with 2 games. And yeah, Travis Hunter, there was that, I don't know if you saw the PI call that he had that he threw on him. That was kind of weak.
Yeah.
That was a weak. I'm a big I don't want to say Travis Hunter hater, but I just don't know why they select him that high for a mediocre wide receiver and a mediocre cornerback. But anyways, yeah, that PI, that was soft. That was a bad call. He's put up pretty good so far. I think they're force-feeding him a little too much, but, you know, he's the second rounder, and you traded next year's first round away. I mean, if he was the second overall, and you traded away last year's first rounder, so you got to use him a lot. But
yeah, I just think it's just interesting with what's going on with Trevor Lawrence. He's supposed to be this generational quarterback prospect. He went through probably the worst head coach you could ever have in the worst organization in the NFL at the time. And then he gets Doug Peterson. They look good for a little bit, but then Doug Peterson ultimately gets fired because Trevor Lawrence isn't playing very well. And then they bring in a new young OC. And through 2 games, I mean, he's still turning over the football, a lot of high balls. Doesn't look like he's really jiving well. And, I mean, it's going to just be interesting to see how it shakes out with Trevor Lawrence because I do think the talent's there. But, I mean, has he just been through too many bad situations? But Brian Thomas Jr., it's pretty scary. Week 2 into the preseason, he gets doinked by a Steelers defender, and since then, I've just seen cut up after cut up of any ball thrown in the intermediate levels of the field or on 3rd and medium at the sticks. He is turning it down. He is not running through the football, not finishing his routes. He's throwing up a hand. He's not using his physical traits of being 6'4", 220 to catch the football. And he's by far their talented playmaker on offense. I mean, I saw a stat that Trevor Lawrence, every offensive playmaker, he has a QB rating of over 80. And then Travis Hunter, it's like passer rating 35.0. Brian Thomas Jr., 15.3. So their 2 primetime players are not playing very primetime. So it's interesting times in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and then let's go over to Cincinnati with, you know, the main thing there was Burrow's injury, and then Browning, am I saying that right? Came in and just got them through to win the game, just barely throwing. You know, he threw 3 interceptions and just targeted Jamar and T. Higgins. I mean, when you have 2 wide receiver ones, how bad of a quarterback, you know, will lose the game. And so Cincinnati just barely squeaked by 31-27 with the last minute QB sneak to push them over.
The last game of the docket that I know me and you both really want to talk about, and it's the guy that we're super big fans of. You've been hammering him as a dark horse MVP candidate. That Monday Night Football game with the Buccaneers-Texans, what did we see?
That was so fun to watch. We saw a good back and forth. Nico had 1 catch, and that made him, you know, irrelevant again. He's no longer in a missing persons report. But the main thing was Baker just putting the team on his back. Just an incredible performance. If you want to get hyped out, just go watch the Baker Mayfield highlights of that Houston Monday night game. You know, they were down and out. he has a rush in the first or second quarter to get a first down, barely gets it, and who was it? Their cornerback, maybe Anderson, Will Anderson Jr. Tackles him, but Baker got the first down. So Will Anderson's in his face, and Baker says, "Hey, buddy, look, first down, chains are moving. Keep it going." And so Baker's just a fun guy to watch. And then that fourth quarter was just spectacular. Houston goes down, scores. Tampa Bay has just a few seconds left, and like a minute left, and Baker has this incredible 80-yard drive, maybe 90. Just insane from that guy, putting the team on his back. He has a scramble early in the drive where it looks like he gets tripped up. It looks like he's injured. He's on the ground holding his ankle. You're like, oh no, this drive looks like it's coming together, and Baker looks like he's cooking. Gets up immediately, has to trash talk another guy. I think, is it Singletary? No. Who's their cornerback?
Devin Singletary. No.
I'm
LSU. LSU.
Yeah, that guy. Can't think of it. Is it Singleton Jr.? Singletary Jr.? I don't know. Stingley.
I think Stingley. Thank you. Yes.
Something like that. Yeah, Stingley. Stingley's in his face, and Baker's all of a sudden he's up. He looks like he might be out for a week or two with his ankle. Gets up right in his face. Hey, we're not done. Let's keep it moving. And yeah, that drive was just incredible. Escapes the pocket on a 4th and 10 to get the first, and then just threads the needle again. What do you have on that?
I think that it's incredible what the Buccaneers are able to do on offense with both their starting tackles injured and then their backup tackle, Lugadiki, gets hurt, and they have a center playing left tackle, and Baker Mayfield's like, whatever, I don't care. I'm going to go ball with my bros, and I'm going to go put this football in the end zone. I think you hit the nail on the head, Liam. It's what was it, 4 or 5 weeks ago? Or was it a couple months ago? You said that he was your dark horse for MVP?
Yeah, and I think we discussed that, and I think our top two were Joe Burrow and Baker, and it's really unfortunate to see Joe Burrow go, but I think the main guy we were talking about was Baker, who had an incredible season last year, and so now, and he doesn't have the best stats so far. Daniel Jones has thrown for more than him. Matt Stafford has. Tua, I think even Tua has thrown more yards, but who's the guy who's had first 2 weeks, fourth quarter, game-winning drives, commanded the offense. Looks like he's down. But,
willed his team to victories, truthfully, because
yeah, it's just him. Not just him, but
through 2 weeks, I think you can undoubtedly say that he's not. I'm not going to say he's the best player in football, but I mean, people are already starting the conversations exactly that he might be the most valuable, and I think it proved with that award that stats aren't everything, because I mean last year Josh Allen won it without the best stats. It's who's the most valuable for their team, and if the Buccaneers end up winning their division and are a 1 seed, and it's because of Baker Mayfield, it's going to be hard not to give it to him. But the Texans, real quick, man, oh man, what a horrible start to the year. 0-2. Nico Collins has still been on a missing persons report. I don't care about the one catch he had. You're not prioritizing Julio Jones' clone. I know I said about Brian Thomas Jr., but Nico Collins is legit Julio Jones. And you're not throwing it to him. You have a red zone concept where you run him on a 1-yard hitch to throw it to your second-string tight end in the back of the end zone. What are we doing? Your offensive line is looked like how we thought it would. It's horrible. Nick Chubb's been in a bright spot. You're not
the Browns. I wonder if Cleveland watched that game of all. They could really use a guy like Baker and Nick.
They really could. That's kind of hilarious. And the thing that I'm hot about is they're prioritizing Parker Washington and Xavier Hutchinson over Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. He took 2 receivers in the second and third round, and you're not putting them on the field. What are we doing? I think it's the Texans have a legit defense. I think they got a legit quarterback, a legit wide receiver 1. But they're staring down the barrel of 0-2, and if they lose to the Jags, which is not out of the realm of possibility, they're starting the season off 0-3, and that is not a good place to be.
Yeah, and Texans had such high hopes to compete for the AFC South. Indy comes out 2-0, and Houston now 0-2. That's really tough for them. Without an O-line, it's looking even tougher. Their defense looks fine. I think C.J. Stroud is a fine quarterback. He's a good quarterback, and he's a great quarterback. And they have not bad weapons. Tank Dell is out, but Nico, Dalton, Jaden, Higgins, they're all solid guys. And Nick Chubb is, he looked pretty good. And you got Joe Mixon on IR or the PUP. I forget which one, but yeah, Houston looks fine. It's just they don't have an O-line, and it's going to be really hard for them to contend if they don't have that.
Yeah, so I mean that kind of wraps up week 2 of the football season and what we've seen. I think the trends that we're starting to see going out through the rest of the league is that if you can run the football and you got a dude at quarterback, you're going to be in football games, regardless of what the other team's got. Because the Chargers, they have a dude at quarterback and they can run the football. Same with the Cowboys, same with the Eagles. I mean, got a dude quarterback and run the football, I think you got a chance to win any game that you play.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been talking about forever with making the playoffs and winning games. Good defense, run the ball. And so these teams that are able to do it, we'll see them. I think most of them are 2-0, and the other teams that don't, they're 0-2. Obvious teller right here. So, hey, anything else to go over?
I think that's everything on this episode of the War Room. We really appreciate you guys tuning in with us, and we have this show weekly, and on the mornings that we feel like it, we'll live stream and take some questions on Sundays, and we hope that you join us and stick with us. It's a long season, and we got a lot to talk about and a lot to cover.
We hope you enjoyed the latest episode of the War Room podcast presented by the Sideline Journal. The NFL season is going on. We have week 3 coming up, a Thursday night road match against the Dolphins and Bills, and we could be more excited that football season's here. Drop a comment down below what your favorite game was from last week, what you're seeing, what you're not seeing, and let us know what type of content you want us to be posting on all of our social medias. If you aren't following us there yet, on the Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, we're slowly getting closer to 300 followers on all platforms. We really appreciate the support. We've been loving it. We hope you stick with us. Anyways, we'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.